Must be hot.
Oh no!
we've got Duck Dynasty and Indiana Jones.
This was just in reach. I obviously didn't plan it. Oh no, you've not come in. Fuck it.
Ha! Suck it.
Oh, welcome.
No.
Sorry.
Was it rodeo? Was it a roller coaster?
Oh my goodness!
It's definitely something.
It very much was a roller
It
coaster.
was
It
a
was a
4-hour
marathon.
fucking marathon.
I
You know what?
think we all need to just chill out about how long it was.
I'll let you do your intro, and then I'll say what my thoughts are.
Manuel, why did you pick this giant film, and why did you think it was a palate cleanser from the last giant film we watched?
Yeah.
So, once upon I was going across London on my scooter. But seriously, I was traveling across London on my scooter, listening to a podcast from a American Korean video producer. And he was talking about how one of his friends recommended this film to him, or recommended it for their film club, because him and his friends have a film club like us, which I thought was kind of cool. And they had watched it for theirs. And he was saying how afterwards he was just like, what? Like, okay. And he was saying it's one of those films that really stick with him. And it's one of his kind of favorites when it comes to like this drama about life and romance and all sorts of crazy stuff. And it's very Japanese. And I get, after seeing it, what he meant. And I was like, let's give it really good reviews. He know how to explain it quite properly. It's just like, you just got to see it. I was just like, okay. And then I see the trailer with Camilla, and initially she was just like, I ain't watching this with you. Okay, bye.
Funnily enough, Rachel had a similar reaction.
Tiffany had a similar reaction. I said, no, you need to watch it. It's incredible. And we got to the end of it, and she went, why did you make me watch this?
And, oh man, that's funny. And then as Rob knows, I didn't decide, because I was going back and forth, because like, I want to watch this, but wait, do I want to pick it for film club? And I was like, 4 hours, but I want to pick it, but I'm not sure if I want to pick it, because I haven't seen it, so I didn't know what this film was going to be like. And I just kind of fast forward bit by like 1 minute here, 1 minute there, so I saw barely anything. Like, you know what? I like the vibe of it. I'll pick it the night before we're announced our pick. And obviously Rob's glad because it's not his film. Wonder what he's gonna pick. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And Camilla ended up watching it with me till 45 minutes before the end, but she knows the end. And I told her everything afterwards, and I'll tell you her feedback as well. She had a lot to say.
Can I just say it's really nice that you're notorious for having picked Antichrist as your second film, and it was like a bit controversial because genital mutilation, obviously. So it's really funny that you've picked another one completely by accident that also has.
I sat there and that scene came up. I was like, for fuck's sake, Emmanuel.
It's like that scene in the last episode of the IT Crowd where Matt Berry's like, I told you to lay low and you've done it again.
I kind of had the same reaction, but it was more, it come out of nowhere. Whereas in the Antichrist, I was like, no, please don't. And then in this, I was like, what? Wait, oh no. It's like, oh.
It's an Emmanuel.
Yeah.
She grabs it and she just goes, and it just goes, all the blood. Like, what the fuck?
I'll admit the snapping sort of made me go.
Yeah, it's like the sound of like celery twisting.
That was the one bit I had to go like, I actually can't just fucking look at this.
When I saw that, I was just like, oh, that's what they're talking about.
that
I was not.
Oh, that. That
That was a
little
lot I
thing, yeah.
wasn't expecting.
Scissors and severed manhood.
Mm.
Oh,
Right,
man.
Rob, you had something to say about the length of the.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say one thing that I was like really impressed with is just like how it's all paced. Because I got like 20 minutes in, and I was like, shit, I'm watching a 4-hour film, and a lot has happened, and I've still got nearly 4 hours left. And it didn't really it didn't let up the whole way through. It was just like thing after thing after thing. Like there was no point where I was kind of going like, oh, this is dragging, or this feels like 4 hours, because the whole way through it was just like boom, 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 boom. Like I was saying to Alec the other day, it's like every half an hour I was like, okay, where's this going to go? And then it went in a completely different direction to anything I could have thought. And then at that point, I was like, okay, where's this going to go? And then it went in another completely different direction. And yeah, I think to keep that up for 4 hours is quite impressive.
Yeah, it kind of caught me, because I was like, if I'm going to sit here for 4 hours, you better use it properly. And I said to Rob, I kept expecting it to get complacent and go, this is the movie. He's going to be doing crime to try and like win back like kind of his dad's affection, and it's like it's going to be 4 hours of that. And then like it was like, no, actually, it's it's going to be 3.5 movies about him being a pervert. And it's like, oh, actually, no, it's actually going to be 3 hours about him trying to get with this girl. Actually, no, it's 2.5 hours about this love triangle. And I was just like, Jesus. Like, I kept expecting it to slow down, but it just went, no, we're building. We're building this.
That was the thing for me, because like obviously it starts in the church and stuff, and you've got that whole thing going on, and I was kind of going like, okay, I'm not sure I get it yet, but like this is quite an interesting premise, that like he has to sin to sort of please his dad kind of thing. So I wonder where they're going to take that. And then all of a sudden he was doing like Pika panty shots, and I was like, okay. And he's got like a remote control car, and he's going like in a line and just like under each of them, and I was just like, okay, where's that gonna go? And then from that he was suddenly in drag, and I was like, okay. And it's just like a series of those moments where I was going like, where the fuck has that come from?
But then I got to the end, and he's in drag. He's in the mentalist. No, he's in drag, and he's killing people with a samurai sword. And I was like, I know exactly how we got here. Like, I'm very impressed. Like, there was a through line. And
It's basically a day in the life of John O'Brien.
No, I'm gonna put my score for purpose back up to 10 actually, because yeah, I honestly don't think like with the premise, the concept, and the chain of events, they could have done any better than what they did over 4 hours.
In reference with the length, and someone might already know this, but and I'm glad it was cut, but the original was 6 hours.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if you just heard that. Eb just went, what the fuck?
yeah, but like, no, cut it. He's just like, huh? So that's why, and I assume he wasn't that happy about cutting it. That's also why there's certain points where there are like some weird kind of plot holes or weird kind of cuts, because it's like he cut it when he didn't want to. He was just like, oh, whatever, cut.
I know that Rob would disagree, and Alec was. I think I would have enjoyed it much better if it was a miniseries. I know that the pacing probably would have helped it if it was one piece, but a 6-hour miniseries of this would have been so much better for me, because it's kind of like I can watch like 45 minutes of it every day, and I think I would have appreciated it more, because I can think about it every time there's a new sequence, because each chapter was so interesting and so like, what's he gonna do next? What's you gonna do next? And then he does this, and then he does that. And I thought it was like, okay, this is so unpredictable. I can't predict what he's going to do next. I can't predict how this story is going to end. But I like that idea of being able to think about it a lot, because there is so much more to this film than you'd think on first glance, because it's just like so bonkers. And it's like, I don't understand what this film is trying to do, but I'm so enthralled about what's going to happen. I just can't not watch it, you know?
Because you were saying that like the tone... You found the tone like quite jarring, and I was sort of like, this is why I watched it. I tried to watch it in one go, because for me, kind of like the mastery of it was going from this point where like we're just in the church and he's the priest's son, and then we've wound up in a mental asylum. and he's running around in his knickers, like like just keeping up that pace for so long. I was just like, fucking hell, I didn't think this was going to be as seamless as it is. Like,
Yeah. I think that's the thing for me, because like it goes from being like a religious story to like a sort of like almost like a tacky comedy into like almost like a martial arts film, and then into like a thriller, and then into, like it goes through all of these different genres. But like I was only kind of noticing that we were in a different genre in retrospect. Like it was only like sort of 10-15 minutes after the switch happened that I kind of went, oh, this is a different film again. So like I think if they did it as like a mini series and you kind of broke it down at those breaks, it would take something away, because like you wouldn't have that kind of seamless experience. And I also think as well, like being a 4-hour film, when it finished, I just sat in my chair for a moment and I was kind of like staring at the screen, just like fucking hell. Like,
I believe.
I don't think you'd get that from a mini series, because like you've almost got like you've got the experience of the film as well as like a sense of achievement that you've done it.
I had a completely different reaction when the credits hit. I was like, off.
Oh.
Yeah, I think
felt-
I've got Rob's exact words here. Oh no, sorry. You say what you're doing. Sorry, my bad.
It felt every minute of the 4 hours. Like
It didn't for me.
for me, like if I had done what I was going to do and sort of watched the first half, then watched the other half another day, I probably wouldn't have watched the second half.
Oh.
I really didn't enjoy it up to about 2.5 hours in, but the last hour and a half really gripped me.
Oh man, honestly, I spent the first 3 hours going, I can't believe how quick this has gone. And then I spent the last hour going, what the fuck's going on?
It got to about, I think
We're all different in that regard.
it got to about 2 hours in, and I was like, "Fuck! I still got 2 hours left."
The thing that got me was the fact that when they do the fight, you know, when he's dressed up as Miss Scorpion, I was like, okay, I've had enough now. And I looked, I'm like, oh my god, I've got another nearly 3 hours left. I'm like, like 2 more hours of this, and it's just constantly like, what the fuck for 3 hours and 55 minutes.
Right. So the exact words I had after Rob watched it was, I definitely don't feel like the same person I was 4 hours ago.
Yeah, I think we all had that.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I was
man,
gonna
like it. Oh, sorry, man. Go on.
I was just gonna say, Pat, Camilla agrees with you. And also one word that describes, I found in a review that describes what you were saying, Rob, genre whiplash.
Yeah.
It was genre whiplash. That's a good way.
Well, see, I'd call it genre whiplash if it was like more noticeable, but I think part of it is sort of, you go like, oh shit, we're doing a fucking love triangle now, like, and like you don't notice until you're kind of already doing it, and you're like, oh, okay, all
I
right.
feel like what is closer to than genre whiplash is if like we've just had like a massive pile up and then we've walked away going, I can't believe that happened.
Well, I do think sometimes the genre was like, every time it changed tone, it was quite jarring. Only because for me, it was like, you get this bit where I can't remember her name, the crazy, the one that isn't Yoko, and then
Okay.
she's massacring the whole class, all those kids, and then the next bit, it's really quite sincere and heartfelt, and then there's a really hilarious moment. I know that some ways that mixing the comedy and the drama really works well, but I think I would have preferred it if it was more jokey. I would have preferred if just like make it complete and bonkers, like tile it up to 11 even further, and I think I would have enjoyed it even more.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you not think this was dialed up to 11? Because like,
just because we know that bit on the beach where Yoko's just like speaking to him, and the classical music's just going up to like so profound, and it's quite dramatic, and I thought like that was a bit like, it didn't need to have those serious moments in it. I don't think. I just would have preferred it if it was more like silly.
Oh, that was part of the excitement for me, man, because it's like I was saying before, like I never knew what they were trying to do until it ended, and it was only once it ended and I kind of looked back and went, oh, okay. And then I think if you made it like a flat out comedy, it would have been like pretty hard to get through 4 hours.
Well, I suppose
4 hours of comedy as well, because like I really like that scene where she's really badly paraphrasing Corinthians, I watched it with Evan. She was like, I mean, that's a gist, but like, it's not that. but like that's kind of the moment he's getting called out, and it's like, you're trying to convert me back to this religion you don't even fucking know, like what it. Because I was like, why is the music here? Because it's really noticeable. But I was like, yeah, it's because this is a big truth moment where, you know, she's kind of holding him. She's kind of like going like, you big fucking hypocrite. Like, what are you doing? And every passage sort of relates to somebody. And I was like, this is, yeah. I think the extra genres kind of like made the 4 hours quite digestible for me. Like,
Yeah. I was gonna say, with that scene with the Corinthians thing, most of it was right. She did put in a bit of her own stuff here and there. It's true. But one of the lines when he says, come back to the normal world / come back to my world, i.e. perverted world. That was one of the kind of quotes from the loosely based real life story. So it was interesting that he put that in there, and he was saying in an interview, he was just like, yeah, because knowing my friend, when he said that to his sister, like, who he was trying to get out of the coat, it's like, her going back to your world is just as bad as a coat. You're that perfect.
Yeah, you're kind of in this because you don't understand, like, like your cult. Like, it's no different. I found that so cool. Like, I think that was like the moment it was like just taken off for me. Just my dad can tell when I'm lying about my sins. So to be truthful about it, I need to tell the truth about it because he knows when I'm lying. So I need to actually commit crime. And I was like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I thought that was such a good idea, man. Because like, yeah, because I think when the film ended, I was kind of struggling to like work out what it all meant, because I was kind of going like, I don't know, if you're if you're gonna make a film about like Pika Panty photography in a country where it actually is a problem, there has to be a good reason for it. And then I started thinking about like how there's like a commentary there that sort of, yeah, to earn salvation you've got to commit a sin to then have repentance. So like, you can't have salvation without the repentance, which means you might as well live as sinful a life as you want. And I thought that was kind of cool. I thought that made the Pika Panty stuff worth it.
Okay, I get that.
I think also, like, I don't think you could divorce it from it being Japanese, because like I was saying to Web, like like Japanese acting isn't the same as like just like regular acting. Like, they do this big like over exaggeration, and you're like, yeah, okay, Nani? And you're like, yeah, and I don't think you could translate that into an, like, say British, and you go, you're taking peaky panty photos. And just work. Like, it has to have that little ridiculous element. You got senpai going, oh, and, you know, this is probably going to get me in trouble, but someone take the ball off me. I just think the acting really complemented like what they were kind of doing. It kind of kept it in sort of a comedy kind of level, and that, but also the dramatic level, because I found Yoko like a little difficult at parts when she's going like Oni-chan, and I was like, but then when she's doing the Corinthian stuff, I was like, oh, she's really fucking going for it. Like, it's just, this is a big acting moment. Like,
yeah, that whole part, I was just like, man, you did well to remember all that and act it in pretty much one take.
Yeah.
I don't even show you in the take. Like,
remember, I would struggle to remember all that. Okay, you could put Arnon to say the chapter now. But anyway, yeah, it's like you said, it lends itself to a lot of their comedy. they have different levels of their comedy, just like any country, of course.
Mm.
But this is more of their kind of course, physical, kind of obvious comedy, and they really go for it. So yeah, that does lend itself and help really well.
I think also having you be like as like kind of earnest as he is, like there's nothing there's like no there's not like pretense about him. Like he is you're seeing what he's feeling at all times, and it's like, yeah, you kind of have to have that over exaggerated thing to kind of still be invested in him, because if you had any doubt that what he was doing was out of like his own like personal perversion, you'd be like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like that's why the setup is so good, I think, because if his character wasn't somebody who was committing sins because he has to, then that whole Peter Panty thing would, you'd kind of be sat there going like, this is fucking weird. but yeah, but because he's doing it, like I said, because he's doing it so that he can commit the sin, which then gets him repentance, which then gets him salvation. I think that's a really cool setup.
Oh. Fucking great setup, and like I said, you couldn't do it with like, you definitely couldn't do it with like an American like cast. You couldn't do it with a Brit. You definitely couldn't do it with a British cast, because it's all really like veiled stuff. Like,
yeah, the closest you get is like a bad Monty Python.
Yeah. So I think it being integral to just sort of just how Japanese actors act. Like I thought it was kind of neat. I thought it was really cool that you couldn't set it outside of Japan. Like,
yeah. One thing I thought was kind of interesting is that the director, like sort of years before he made this, was a performance poet. And what I was kind of thinking of is like when I was doing my PGCE, I remember somebody described there was somebody in my PGCE group who was she basically wrote poetry and she had it published and stuff. And she described like the process of writing poetry as like packing a suitcase, because you've only got a limited amount of words, so you've got to work out like which words are important to put in there and which ones you need to take out and that kind of thing.
He's catching a robber. Oh, he didn't even react. Fuck you.
That is embarrassed by his British work.
Have you never read that poem, Emmanuel?
No.
Oh, Pat got one published.
Oh,
It's called Dog by Patrick Kenny.
Yeah, it's terrific.
me once, I forgot it, but yeah, I know something.
but yeah, so she used to describe like writing poetry as like you've got this suitcase and you've got to work out what's important to go in there, what's not important to take out, and that kind of thing, because you've only got a limited amount of words. And even though this is a 4-hour film, I feel like that's still the case here, is that like, because Pat said that he thought the film could have been a lot shorter, but I genuinely can't think of a single scene that it would have benefited from cutting.
I'd argue you could have, you should have had it longer, really.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't have it. If it was a miniseries, longer. If it was a film, no. No.
But
like,
Ben, just slot off like a 6-hour period of your life and just fucking sit down.
Yeah, but if I can't even watch the Snyder Cut, which I liked, I can't watch that in one go.
Don't compare this to the Snyder Cut of all things.
Even
this makes way more sense than the Snyder Cut.
Like The Irishman or Return of the King.
One man who liked it.
It's like, it doesn't matter how good something is. I think some things can be just a bit too long.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
It's not really something that bothers me, to be honest. Like, as long as the time's used well, then I don't really mind. And I think like one example of sort of like how every scene is used well is like even the title cards, because like the title card doesn't come in until like an hour into it, and when it comes in, it's like a proper like crash. It's like bang, 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 and like it's like it's a performance in itself. And you know, like I can't think of any other title card that I've remembered, but I remember this one.
Just did El Royale, which was there was all title cards. It was really nice. Title
not the series of title cards. The first one that said Love Exposure.
I even made a thing about it. John forgot his whole stance on title cards. That's how good the title cards.
But yeah, even with that, because like you've got this whole like hour of film, and I mean, like I said, like from very early on, I was going, I can't believe how much has happened already. So you've got like this whole hour of like random shit happening, and then only at that point it says love exposure, and I was like, what the fuck? But like, but even that took that further by like coming in so like aggressively. And yeah, I just think every single scene had purpose to it, man.
Mm.
And that's really impressive for a 4 hour long film.
I'd agree. I'd agree
Yeah.
with
I think the only thing I would cut, and it's probably like a minute, it's not even much, is, and this was more of a relation to how weirdly the film was cut from 6 hours to 4 hours. But the first time Ka Kaori is saying Yoko, Yoko, and then goes to the priest. The first time she goes, she jumps his bones. And like he's on the floor and stuff, and they're kissing and whatnot on the floor. Camilla's dancing, um, just like doing stuff on the floor, and then it cuts straight to I think Yoko's chapter or something like that, and then it plays that scene again, but it happens quite differently.
Hmm.
So that was one of those things where I think there was meant to be much more in between those two parts,
Mhm.
but because it was 6 hours, there were some things that weren't explained.
See, I think that's where, because like my biggest gripe with it is Koike, because I was like, I don't, I'm meant to believe you orchestrated a lot of this, but I don't know how you even did, because like the whole thing is her, she's apparently orchestrated you and Yoko meeting, because like she follows Corey, she says something to you, and then she's like, okay. And then she sees Yoko get in her car, follows the car, and then she goes, okay, call the guys in. But she has no idea what Yu's doing. And it's like, and then the guys all come in to stop Yoko when she's walking through the town square after she's just had an argument with Corey. And then Yu happens to be there dressed as Miss Scorpion. And it's there to get them together. But I'm like, how did you didn't even know where the fuck he was going to be, what he was going to be doing, who he was going to be dressed as. And it's like, she's obviously doing a kind of a free form sort of plan, but I was like, what was your plan before? Like, what are you doing? Because she's standing right there as well, like in the middle of this, trying to stop outside interference. So,
Yeah,
and I'm like, you really don't want to be seen by Yoko if you're trying to pretend to be Miss Scorpion, because if she sees Miss Scorpion and you standing there, that fucks your whole plan up. So I don't know what her plan was from the beginning. So I think they could have used more Koike stuff.
I think with Koike, I would say try not to think too deep about it, because I think she's one of those people, or she seemed like this way to me, that she goes in with a very, very loose plan and just F's crap up, has fun with it, and then with the fallout, tries to do something with it. Kind of like the whole Lady Scorpion thing, which, if anyone doesn't know, is a reference to Lady Snowblood, similar to how in Kill Bill, Lucy Liu, the actress for that, is a reference to Lady Snowblood.
Mm.
Who is Lady Snowblood?
It's someone else might be able to explain it better than me, but
No,
it's
you're
like
the resident weeb. You're meant to be able to do this.
it's a classic female kind of tough sword femme fatale type character.
Yeah.
Japanese kind of media and stuff. So yeah, it's a reference to that character. But she wouldn't if she wouldn't have known, of course, that he was going to be in drag. Well, she probably would have known, but she probably didn't think of using that drag in disguise against him until later, when she was trying to weasel herself into their lives when they were living together. So I feel like she kind of improvs a lot, but also stalks all the time,
Mm.
and just has fun with the chaos that ensues.
Yeah, I was just like, if your plan, obviously, like she can't have gone in with that being her plan in the beginning because she didn't know half of it would happen. But I'm just like, if you, I don't know, if you just show up and you're just like, Yoko helping my plan. Here's like 20 guys for her to beat up. Don't know. She just like, if he doesn't show up, she just gets beaten up by 20 guys. So it's like, oh, done that. Well, I guess I'll go manipulate you. That's what I'm trying to do. Like, yeah, I was just like that.
Yeah. Even with like, I wanted to ask you guys' opinion on this. What did you think about Koike's obsession with you?
See, I was annoyed by it because I was looking at the wiki because we got to the end of the film and I was like, I'd obviously gone to Eb. I was like, this film's great. We're gonna watch this, and then we got to the end of it, and I was like, I feel like I got a decent understanding of this. And then Eb went, why did she kill herself? And I went, it all links back to Corinthians. She's preaching gospel that she doesn't believe in, so she's kind of empty. And in that moment, Yu has just been rejected by Yoko, so he's quite, he's empty as well. And so then she, and I was hoping it would tie together, and then I was like, fucking kills herself. Because I looked at the wiki as well, and I was like, what the fuck is this actually? And I looked up, and she went, and the wiki says, Koike kills herself because she really loves you, and you doesn't love her. And I was like, that seems really fucking thin for this character. Like she's got 17 occupations. She's a fucking drug lord, cult leader. And she's like, I really love this guy. He's got nice coats. Oh, he doesn't like me. Well, fucking. That doesn't sit with me that well.
No,
Yeah, that
it
was
doesn't
only
really
part
make
of
any
it.
sense.
Yeah, that was only part of it, like a small part of it. That's why, like Alec was saying, don't make any sense. Anyone else can chime in as well. But basically, from what I understood, so yes, that is the moment when she realized you truly loves Yoko, but at the same time, it was a few things. So she knew that the Zero Church was coming to an end. Being a part of it, she was going to be taken back to prison and all sorts of stuff because she had done a lot of crime and there was proof of everything she had done, which is why, like, a lot of the kind of like leading members and whatnot who were still alive anyway, got arrested and whatnot. On top of that, everything was coming to an end. It was almost like she chose for that to be the beautiful end of her life, because she was looking at you and was just like, you're the same as me, you're just like me, which makes me think of the Joker and Batman, but completely different, of course. But she was like, you're the same as me. And she was just like, and as he's losing it, she was like, watch your world fall into a million pieces, like what happened to me. Watch it fall into a million pieces. And it's like she chose that to be her end because she didn't feel like she didn't want to go on anymore. And it's kind of like the idea of like someone going their life as an art piece, but they're like, you know what? I want to put a full stop here. I don't want to just live and exist past this and be bored. I want it to end here. And that's kind of where she was coming from.
Okay.
That's pretty interesting.
Because I guess I can see the pieces of it, but I don't think it's that well explained in the film. I feel like obviously you can draw that stuff out, but I don't necessarily. Obviously, that's going to be part of the 2 hours they cut out like, of it. So I'm like, I'd want a little more. Sorry, anyone else can chime in. Please take the ball off.
Becoming your catchphrase tonight, man.
Yeah, I've been drinking. Please, someone.
Happy birthday.
Alec, did you know you share a birthday with a famous individual?
Yes, Amelia Clark. I know it's really embarrassing. I'm just
Not Amelia Clark.
No,
Someone bigger.
Clark. Yeah, someone bigger than Amelia Clark. I know.
Happy birthday to Alec and Ryan Reynolds.
Oh,
shit.
Oh dear, oh dear.
It's like my evil twin. It's like looking in a mirror.
It's you or me, and me or you.
Yeah, we're both. I'm the talented one. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. No. I think I'd have liked more Koike's stuff just to kind of cement. I don't feel like I got in her head that much, and like she just kind of looking back, I'm like, I kind of get. I very much was in Yu's head for a lot of it, and I was like, no, I actually from start to finish, I was like, I can track Yu's journey like pretty much the whole way through. Yoko gets like a little bit, I don't know, but like Koike, I'm just like, you really need to punch her bit up more if I was gonna get what she was doing. Looking back, I'm like, what? Why did you do like a lot of that? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, really, because I think, it's kind of like you said. So once it got to the end, I was kind of like looking back on what had happened, and then although it was all like at the time, a lot of it seems quite random and just sort of all over the place, but you can sort of trace it really well. But with Koike, you kind of, I don't know. I think it was fine until you brought up the thing about why she killed herself, and then I was kind of like, actually, yeah. I mean, considering everything that sort of happened, there's no kind of like through line like you've got with the others. Even Yu's dad, really, like a lot happens to him for somebody who's only got probably about less than an hour's worth of screen time. But even him, I'm kind of going like, yeah, that's I can completely see sort of where he started and ended in all of this.
Even the second half I watched with there, I was annoyed that him and Corey, they just get a nice ending. They're just like they're just fucking doing stretches in a park and they're smiling at each other, and I'm like, you cunts. Why do you get a happy? Fuck you.
Oh, I really didn't like that woman. Oh my god,
She's awful.
She was obnoxious as fuck.
Great actress, but her character, I was just like, why do you get a happy ending out of this? Like, fuck off.
The way that she saying that she answered at the end, it hinted at the fact that she wasn't going to stay with him forever, or she wasn't sure if she was going to stay forever. Like, no, the wife.
Flag.
Camilla was like, we know Cowley's not staying forever. Goes without.
I see the implication of they go to the Zero Church and Kari goes like, oh, well, I guess I don't know. It just seems like they have a bit of a happy ending, and I was just like, man, fuck you. Like, you really got shafted over this. And I feel like Yoko, I wish there was kind of a little bit more, but like, I feel like she comes out like a lot better, like a lot more intact than Koike does. I wish there was more Koike stuff.
Yeah. Sorry, you're saying.
No, it's okay. Sometimes I ramble when I've had some of this.
Is it because you've been drinking?
Listen, shut the fuck up, you. This is 5.5%.
Oh.
Yeah, pulling out the big shit.
Oh, man. Definitely been demonetized many times over now.
Nudity. Sorry.
Mm.
You nearly made Humphrey choke on his paintbrush.
Humphrey.
Less. Sorry. Yeah. No. Take the ball off me.
No, there's quite a few things. Like, I'll just say a random thing. Obviously, if there's any points anyone else has, you can always go back to it, of course. There was a band whose songs got featured quite a few times throughout the film. So the link to a YouTube kind of song I posted in the chat. That band who's kind of psychedelic rock, I'm gonna look into them more because I kind of like that stuff now. But their songs are used quite a few times throughout the movie. And in the Zero Church, they sing the lyrics to one of them, albeit in a different way. But the I Am a Cave is their song. They just sung it in some different way. Pretty random. And they also, and this is probably the artist who really liked them himself, but they're also one of the only kind of underground bands at the time that actually got commercial success in Japan, and they kind of disbanded 2 years after the film was made.
Oh, so
Yeah. And not that when I saw this, I laughed because Max Landis's name came up the other day.
oh yeah.
Oh, good old Max.
I'm feeling so retroactively guilty over picking Blues Brothers. He just keeps popping up.
Yeah, but we're talking about his son, Max, not John. Are we?
No, Max. Blues Brothers.
John Landis is reprehensible also, but Max
Yeah.
Landis is possibly
Max,
more so.
Max is the worst one. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Max Landis is definitely the worst.
It's hard to call, really.
John Landis didn't kill the child.
No, John Landis is the one who did kill the kid.
Oh, I thought it was Max Landis.
No, Max Landis raped 8 women.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, there's
Whoa.
rapists and murderers. So
There's
oh, okay. I mean, yeah, okay.
so,
Yeah.
yeah,
They're
They
both
featured
pretty
that
bad.
family then.
they both
Both
did
pretty-
terrible things, and I'm not sure which is worse.
Well,
I think raping 8 people is probably considerably worse.
Than killing 2 kids. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
the
I
2
think
kids
that's
thing, like, did he?
I'm
like,
happy to
he
leave it
didn't
as
actually intend
ambiguous.
to kill the kids, though, did he?
no.
Well, no, but yeah, like it's.
He made it about him,
Like-
though.
Yeah, I understand that it's a terrible thing, but
He's
he's
like, "My
not
career's
intentionally
ruined."
gone out to kill 2 kids, where this other fucker's gone out to rape 8 people.
Yeah, you are
He's
right.
definitely
but
worse.
yeah, I get what you're saying, but like I don't know, the circumstances that led to him killing 2 kids and the way he's acted since. Ugh.
just
I think you
they're
could
both bad.
And then my next pick is.
Yeah, no. I actually didn't know about the who's the fucking son? Who wrote
Max.
that? Max. I didn't know. I thought Max wrote the I thought he said some unsavory things. I didn't realise he'd done it. So
Do you know what's going to happen now? Is a bunch of feminists are going to watch this video and be like, "This Pat guy, he's got it. he's
Where's-
protecting our rights."
Whereas a
a bunch
bunch
of Japanese
child
people are going to watch
activists-
this and go, "Fuck that guy in the blue." He's... Oh no. Okay, fuck the Landises. There are. Yeah.
I wouldn't.
No. No, don't fuck the Landises. They don't
Nobody
deserve it.
touched that. Nobody touched it.
Just hit him with a shovel and put him in a ditch.
Why did you bring up Max Landis?
Oh God.
Who is this Max Landis dickhead?
He's John Landis' son.
Yeah, I know that, but what significance has he got in the film world?
All you need to know is that John Landis wrote the second Blues Brothers movie, and therefore he's fucking awful. So,
He wrote the
he
first one as
directed
well,
the
didn't he?
first Blues.
hey, that was the first one? No, sorry, that's right.
Yeah, he directed the first one, but Dan Aykroyd wrote it.
Yeah, but
Oh,
he's
really
box office
gone-
poison, isn't he?
He still wrote it.
Man.
If that's on release,
Yeah, Mac helped with Blues Brothers 2000. I don't know what he did with it, but
I don't know what he did with Blues Brothers 2000 because it's
Yeah.
fucking garbage.
It
Well,
doesn't exist.
the only I liked was Chronicle, but that's a whole nother conversation that we had before. The reason, oh, Camilla is saying, "Wow, This is gross beyond belief." Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He up his name and also said, "Wow, it doesn't mean much or say much," but he said that, "Oh, this is the best film ever made," and I was just like, "That coming from you."
Oh,
Yeah, see, this is the problem, isn't it? Because it's like I was saying earlier, where I was kind of going, like, what's the purpose of all like the Pika Pantney stuff? And like knowing that it's his favorite film, I'm kind of like, I think me and him got very different things from it.
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I
This is
was
the
like,
thing. Like, I think when I watched it, I was sort of like, I was very impressed by how it kept stuff going and how it was pacing itself. And I was like, yeah, pretty cool. Every time I watched it, it's kind of suffered a little bit, and it's like, this isn't the best movie ever. Like, sorry, but yeah, knowing it's connected to this guy who I now know more things about. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, maybe not. I still think it's really good.
Well,
I'd watch it. I'd watch it again on purpose. So, like,
at least it's just a film that he likes rather than a film that he was involved in.
yeah, it's only a film he's. I don't know. I don't know if that. People don't understand that. It's only a film he's wanked to. So.
God.
I like how your profile picture was a fucking landscape, and then I just come back and you're like, sorry.
You look very concerned, Pat.
I'll run away.
"Why don't you run away?" Anyway,
I'm leaving. You won't hear anything from me. Talk amongst yourself.
I think the bit that got me the most was the bit when you done the confessional bit. You got all the people confessing, "Oh yeah, I like eating hair and that." And the one thing that kind of makes him stop is the bloke going, "Oh yeah, I really want to blow people up." Like, wait, these people are fucking these awful people, and that one thing is like, "Oh, wait a minute."
To be fair though, that is harmful to everyone else rather than just being a bit weird.
Well, one of them doesn't admit to being a paedophile.
Well.
that was just oh man.
Yeah, I was just like, what is wrong with these people?
I think that's the thing, because like when I was trying to work out what it all meant, there was part of me that was going like well, one of the things that didn't sit well with me is that like when they were talking about Yoko being a lesbian and saying that like it was kind of implied that that was on the same level as like taking Pika Panty photos and all of that stuff, and I was kind of like, that's a bit out of order.
Basically being a pervert because she's a lesbian. It's like, what? I don't think that's the same.
Yeah, no, there's a few bits like that where I was kind of going like, I don't know. But then, like I said, like once I kind of thought about sort of how that ties in with like the religious stuff and all of that, I was like, yeah, I think it is warranted from that point of view. But
I think it's that. Yeah, it's a weird thing where some things in their culture are accepted, whereas other things are not, and it's like the fact of being a lesbian is as bad as being basically a pervert rapist is. It's like, this is a bit weird. Yeah, I don't know.
Is
it meant to be like a pop at their culture, or is it meant to be like a highlight? Because I would have thought it feels like it's kind of they're making a point at how absurd they are.
Well, that's another thing really, because I think like what I was saying earlier about how you have to sin to repentance, which then earns you salvation. Like that kind of like process is a bit of an absurdity in itself. So I
Yeah.
think making like an absurdist film about it was actually quite cool.
Yeah, it's a bit like, I like the fact that they make the whole, like the big Annie, they make it into this big thing. He's like, oh my god, he's like the god of doing it, and it's like they build it up to be this like he's so wonderful, and it's just like, this is so weird.
There-
Such
I
a
must-
creepy fucking thing.
I must say, like when he was doing like the kung fu moves to get like the upskirt photos, like, there was a few of them where I was like, you haven't captured anything. But then like another part of my mind was going like, it's not really the point.
Yeah, I was sort of like, I mean, you're not also fighting off 20 guys, so
I did like the fact that when he does the one when they're doing the is it the photo of the month or something, he says, I've got a full house, and it's basically because he's got a face, her pants, and then it's in the reflection. I'm just like, how do you make like a list of this is the things that have got to be the criteria for the best photo. It's like,
Humphrey, that the value of that is obvious. Come on, what are you? You know what the lady behind the butt looks like? You got it twice. Cool. I shouldn't have to explain this.
I really like that sort of doing kind of
What?
Pika panty top jumps.
You go panty top trumps.
oh, I know that is now, but I know your game.
No, I think at the point where they're making all the girls walk in a line and they've all got mini skirts on, and
Okay.
you're doing a little race car and you're taking their photos, and then they all look back and go, ah, and I was like, I don't think I'm meant to take the action that seriously.
That was the scene where I started questioning everything, because like, so they're all in a line, and then the remote control car goes underneath, and then as it goes underneath, you get like the cheer, 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 cheer. And when I heard that sound, I was like, something in the back of my mind went, oh yeah, because that's a legal requirement in Japan, because this is an actual problem. And then I went, hang on, I need to work out what this means.
Like, this is wrong, but this is funny. I'm conflicted in my opinions of this.
That's the thing. Like, I was laughing, and then like just something switched where I realised that they're actually like, yeah, they're doing something that's a legit problem. I was kind of like, I really need to think about what the purpose of this is.
This is what I come back to when we're talking about doing it as a mini series and stuff, though, because like I think like you kind of you punctuate the serious moments with moments of like ridiculous funny moments, and it's like if it's all ridiculous funny moments, by the third hour you're going like, fucking hell, I can't take any more of this. But because it like jumps it, like, you know what I mean, because it jumbles it a little more. That's what makes it all as effective, I guess, because there's contrast.
Yeah.
I've just realised something. So not only is this the second film that you've picked with scissors mutilating genitals, but this is also the second film you've picked with pervert cameras.
We can't deny it a minute.
Let me figure it out.
Ironically, the I guess the
Shark
step
Boy and Lava Girl. No.
Oh, imagine that. Bloody hell.
the actress plays Cowdery wait, not in Sunshine. Did you say he plays a film which when you first read it says mother, but it's actually titled him/other.
Oh.
But I was trying to look for if there in anything else like I might know. It's like no, there in nothing. I know that I don't. They're well known in Japan, but like they don't really do anything internationally, basically. And even you and the dad, they only really act on TV shows, so they don't actually really do movies.
No.
That's like the only big movie they've been in, which is interesting in that way. A random kind of fact that quite a few you might know or not, but when they were him and his best friends, you and his best friends were meeting up for the first kind of group photo kind of shoot and training stuff in Shibuya in Tokyo. They met at the famous kind of dog statue, which
Oh yeah, it's Hachi.
Hachiko.
Yeah.
Cool. And yeah, that's the famous kind of dog who waited for about 9 years after his owner died. And after he died, they made a statue of him.
That's really nice.
That's right, because he was in front of a pizza place, and it turned out that his owner had actually just frozen himself, and he was in the future, and his name was Philip J. Fry. No, sorry. I was waiting for Rob to fucking laugh at that. But...
Who the fuck is that guy?
What? Yeah.
There's a reference to Futurama.
Oh, I don't watch that shit.
Oh, I bet you watched Family Guy, though. Ooh.
I haven't watched that in ages, so.
Oh, I bet you watched Dragon Ball Z, though.
Camilla said,
That was brilliant. You could pinpoint the second where Pat realised your mum was there.
My mum's not there anymore. It's okay.
Just taking safety.
It's all right. I'm alone. You may use your mother jokes at your whim.
Before we get to like the favorite scenes and stuff.
Yeah, good luck with Pat.
It could be. We could do the scene you dislike the most as well.
Wow.
Oh, that's an interesting twist.
Because sorry, Dan, that you really didn't like it.
No, I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. It's
That's
like,
it.
Isn't that the same thing?
What's the deal with that, Humphrey? No, it's not actually the same thing.
well,
I did with
Emmanuel thought my film was great, but he didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
So you basically used Emmanuel's skills for Apocalypse Now as a
You're
template.
like, you know what? You didn't enjoy Vietnam. Fuck you. I don't enjoy Japan.
It was too damn long.
Too goddamn long.
While y'all are on the call, sorry, Ben, I finally started reading through this, so thanks.
It's the Sherlock manga.
Yeah, The Blind Banker.
Weebs.
I don't think I remember the story.
Yes.
Great. Anyway, back. Camilla was making some like good points throughout the film, and
It sucked. Emma putting voice in her mouth.
Just little jabs in. Just
there you go.
interesting point about the film.
Oh, Emmanuel, I think that lagged out.
Yeah, sorry, man. Continue.
Sorry, say it again.
Wait, sorry, Camilla.
I said I didn't think it sucked. I just didn't enjoy it because it felt like a 4-hour excuse to look at girls' pants, and I just was like, I'm done now.
Yeah, that was my worry, to be honest. 'Cause-
Yeah, that was the only thing that's very like a voyeuristic kind of thing, you know.
It's not even the thing is though. You're saying that it's about like peeking at girls' pants. I think that accounts for like half the movie, like less than half the movie.
Well, because it was so long, it kind of was be half.
That- That's the thing, innit? Like, because I was kind of going like, yeah, like I said, like, because it's a genuine problem there. I was like, this really needs to have a good reason for this being 2 hours of the film.
Like it's about as much about Pika Panty as it is about like, you know, holding a girl hostage against her will on a bus. Like it's not really about that. It's kind of
like,
about that.
We spent 20 minutes watching the bloke show off his prop penis. Like, I'm like, why do I need to watch this for 20 minutes? Move on to, like, you could easily cut 15 minutes off this.
Yeah,
It's a mighty girthy sort of veiny kind of character moment though.
that was brilliant.
I
was
got
kinda
really
like-
bored.
I did think though, like, because I don't know, to use an erection as like more than just like sort of like cheap comedy. I thought it was quite inventive.
Oh,
I was
it
sitting
was
there like,
funny.
oh wow, he's got an erection. I was like, oh bless him.
It was funny at first, but then like 20 minutes later, I'm like, okay, we've what's
No,
the
but-
point?
you know what the payoff was, right? It's the bit when he's in the hospital and he becomes himself again, and then he gets
Yeah.
the massive boner.
He has to
Like,
remember who he is, and he looks
Ah.
up his
Yeah.
own skirt and he goes, hey.
Seriously, man, I've
That's
never cheered a
me.
boner before, but this film got me doing it. Like that scene in the hospital, I was like, yes, yes, you.
the
We've been on a
only
long
reason-
journey together, and you're back.
And it's the only reason why they needed to do it is just to show that he's got his personality back. That was it.
It
4
look,
hours.
it's holier than a hard on, all right? You got to create an erection with your heart.
I think the thing is with this, like you've kind of got to go into it with somebody telling you that it's not a comedy. Like don't approach it as a comedy, and then yeah.
You
I
know,
don't know
you know
what to
what?
approach it as.
I do genuinely think John's gonna fucking love this.
Of course, he's gonna love it. It's a vanity project.
Vanity project. I wouldn't
What?
describe
Well, it's
it as
a
that.
biopic of
It's
John.
Japanese. Of course he's gonna like it.
Oh no, that's rude.
I saw somebody describe it as a living anime, and I was like, I don't know.
I could kind of see it. To be honest.
Yeah, it's got
Yeah, same.
At
elements
points,
of like absurdity and
Fuck Sherlock. This has more of a reason to be a manga. Right?
at points, I thought it was going to turn into a hentai.
Well, yeah,
They
they
do
have the
keep
book
saying
there.
hentai though. They keep saying like for the word for pervert is hentai.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
I
do.
I don't want to say why that stuck out to me, but
I do get
Blick
what.
is a hentai.
Oh, oh.
I love
Oh.
squids.
Yeah, tentacles. Yeah.
Oh, they didn't have any of them in it.
No, I don't.
What?
Like I said, I love squids. Sorry, go on. Just take the ball.
What in it?
Oh, blood.
Tentacles. They didn't have any tentacles in it.
Well, I'm glad they didn't.
We had everything else.
I do kind of I do get what they were saying about the anime thing, because there were moments it made me wonder, was it based off of a manga? Because there's points where it's just that kind of absurd, out there kind of.
Mm.
It has, they call it, do they call it erochi moments? Basically, the whole kind of panty thing throughout it happens a lot in certain manga specifically to that,
Mm.
which I tend to get annoyed at and don't read. Because it's like, oh, purpose panty shot, purpose this. It's just like, this has no point. Why are you showing this?
What?
Why are you showing this angle? Like, no one needs, this is not important to the story.
I don't really understand why it's a thing.
I know it's not what the film's about, but it's what you keep seeing.
That's what Camilla felt the whole way through the film.
It is, and it's more the fact that they glorify it. It's just what makes it more like.
This is what I mean. Like it's something that is acknowledged in the script as being something that's bad. Like Koike puts the photographs around school, and he gets expelled over it. And it's like, yeah, and it's also kind of he takes no personal pleasure out of doing it. He's doing it to like get his the eventual goal of getting his dad to like love him again. So like I think if it was about personal perversion, I'd be like, what are you doing? But like
Yeah.
I think they're very careful about making it not about that.
Yeah, it's a fine line.
It's still a bit dodgy.
Fine thing.
I don't think I'll be having this position for this. I was like, I don't want to be defending the panty fucking film. But
You're defending the perverts.
it's the panty film as much as it's about like I said, the fucking holding a girl hostage on a bus film about the secret cult film a person in drag having a love triangle film. Like, I don't think you can. I was really struck because I have a thing, I have a little project where I'm trying to find like little central images for these, and I was like, what's the central image for this? And every hour had a different answer for me, and I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna. I was gonna do it about the fucking the priest, the confession door, and it had like the two red squares and the two yellow squares, and I was like, that's a nice little image, but it's not necessarily an element for, I don't know, about 2.5 hours of it. So I'm like, it's not really relevant for that. I don't know if that's a good way to sum that up. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Like, you know?
Yeah, I get what you mean. With Camilla, was some of the points she was making, which I thought was quite cool. So we was talking about at the end, because he kind of talks about this love story in a way, this kind of crazy, messed up love story, where eventually you and Yoko get together in the end. But Camilla was making a point that Yoko's not really in love with you. She's trauma bonded to you.
Mm.
So she fell in love with Lady Scorpion at first, or love first sight. Not fell in love, was enamored by Lady Scorpion. But eventually she went through so much crap, bad and good, with you, that she eventually became bonded to him through that kind of trauma. Like kind of like how you go through really crazy hard times and you feel that connection with that person that you don't feel with someone else, because they understand exactly what you've been through
Yeah.
and also care for you and like you. Or in this case, you loved her.
Mm.
So
I think that's also why the foster daughter's there, because she's like describing this guy she fancies, and for everything that she's describing, Yoko can't stop thinking back to you, and you know, she's going like, he saved me, and she's going like, you saved me, bollocks. And she's like, you know, and like he was really cool and sexy, and he fought everybody, and she's going like, oh, you did all that, and everything that's why that character's there. Everything that she's describing in this guy she fancies, Yoko is reflecting back on him, and she's like,
there's,
yeah,
which is very random. And then I was just like, oh yeah, because he cried a few tears of blood when he was getting choked.
Mm.
that's not the opener for that. Like, I think there's stuff there.
Obviously, anyone else comment on this stuff as I'm going through it?
Please stop me talking.
But yeah,
Take
like
the wheel.
it was a lot of gratitude that she felt him. Oh, good night, whoever said good night.
Come on.
Oh. Good night, Humphrey's mum.
Right.
You're not Humphrey's mum.
Yeah, Pat. That'd be all good.
And so back to what Dan and Rob were talking about at one point about the lesbian stuff, the drag stuff, and all sorts of other stuff. So, excuse me. There is elements where I know he was making comments on different things, and in other points he was not poking fun at something, but there are points he's poking fun, but at points he's like pointing something out as being bad. Like obviously he's pointing the panty shot thing as being bad. But when it comes to lesbian, he's also maybe pointing out like how kind of absurd it is, kind of like how you say there's in Japanese culture, drag is and has been accepted for a very, very long time. But like lesbianism and homosexuality and kind of stuff isn't quite.
Mm.
And it's that kind of line where it's more so much so for religious kind of reasons than obviously in general. general publicist. Sorry, Camilla's dancing again. Okay.
I keep going to go turn the camera around, and I'm like, no, she's gonna be your wife in like a couple of weeks. So like,
Nothing. Lost my train of thought.
my bad.
It's okay. Yeah, that was it. So one of the things, or some of the things that they didn't really explore as much, but this might have also been because of the 6-hour cut. And maybe they explored it more, but Camilla was saying it would have been more interesting to explore more the kind of, I say that the gender side of things, where you had said when he was first wearing Lady Scorpion's kind of outfit that he felt free, and that's quite an important statement, but don't really do anything with it except only use it for the like being with Yoko, or kind of meeting with Yoko, or trying to show that, oh, I am Lady Scorpion, I'm who saved you, kind of thing.
Yeah,
And
I
doesn't
think
really go.
yeah, I think that's totally right, actually, man. Because one of the things that I was thinking after I watched it was, you know, like I was saying, like I was kind of uncomfortable with how they sort of put lesbianism on the same level as sort of Pika Panty photo taking. And kind of one of the things that I was thinking afterwards was that it works really, because you got the whole thing about like how sort of marginalized groups are vulnerable to cults. But if you'd have done what you said and sort of, you know, lent more into sort of him being in drag and that kind of thing, because sort of thinking about it, it's kind of, I don't know, it's a bit of a missed opportunity that she sort of was a lesbian and then wasn't a lesbian when she found out that Miss Scorpion wasn't a woman. So yeah, if they'd have lent into sort of more kind of like gender stuff, then that would have been really cool.
I think it's also like she's not necessarily a lesbian by. She's not a lesbian by virtue of loving girls. She's a lesbian by virtue of hating men.
Yeah.
That's a great mindset to. I'm cool with lesbians. I've seen all their movies, but like I just like I don't think Yoko has like a healthy mindset, and I don't think the film tries to make that a thing that she does. If that makes sense.
I don't think any character in the film has a healthy mindset.
No.
Like, if they explain all their backstories, you're like, oh, fuck. Some of those persons like they are.
I'd leave you on the side of the road. But that's what I mean. She's not. She does. Yeah, like I said, she's not a lesbian because she loves women. She's a lesbian because she hates men.
Yeah, but I think like it would have been a richer story like if you did lean more into that, because like I was saying, like the thing that kind of made me all right with that aspect of the story was that you had the commentary on how that group is vulnerable to cults and that kind of thing. But you'd have got a lot more out of it if you lent more heavily into well, not only her sexuality but also used gender as well.
I think that's something as well, because like more time should have been given to both the female leads. It's clear they went, we've got to make this 6-hour film into a 4-hour film. We're gonna make sure the main character, because you stuff is fucking rock solid. I like follow it the whole way through. There's no like bit of thing that I'm like confused about with you, but like Koike and Yoko, not like they're there, but like they're not as strong as I feel they should be. I don't feel like I understand them as much as I understand him.
Yeah.
And like exploring that side, because that's the thing, like her being like part of a vulnerable group that the Zero Church can exploit. That's not something I even picked up on after 2.5 watches. of it. So I'm like, you maybe should have punched it up a bit.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I didn't think of it similar. I didn't think of it like what Rob was saying until I read something afterwards when an interview was like, oh, how do people get into cults anyway? And part of like the cult side, even though it was loosely based on a true story, it was also coming to how a lot of people, especially at the time, and this can happen all over the world anyway, but he was talking specifically about Japan at the time, how a lot of people, family ties are breaking down, connections. If you can't trust your dad and your mom, like who can you turn to? Who can you trust? Who can you get love and that connection from? And people who are alone, I think they're looking for God, and they're looking for like a connection and happiness.
Yeah.
And to kind of add on to that, I might have said it before, but till this day, it's such a society where certain people, to do things functionally in life, they need to get someone to sometimes pretend to be their husband or their brother or their girlfriend or whatever it is. Otherwise, let's say a mom wants to go to a nursery, they're not going to take her kid if they think she's a single mom.
Mm.
And it's just things like that that is so kind of messed up that it's so stricken to family and so stricken to certain views. There's a lot of people who end up falling outside of those views, and they end up thinking about three different possibilities in life: living life mostly alone, not really getting much out of it, or maybe leaving the country; two, becoming a hikikomori and just shutting themselves in for most of their life; or three, joining a place where they feel understood. And sometimes that ends up a cult. Sometimes it's a bad cult. Sometimes it's just a kind of innocuous cult that's not dangerous. So
Generally, cults are dangerous.
Man, I'm sort of drifting out, and I kept thinking you were talking about a coat. I was like, what's he going on about?
sorry.
Jesus, Pat.
Coats can be very... No, Emmanuel, that was not your fault.
That's completely my fault because I'm tired. I'm probably going to head off now.
Oh.
Coats can be very dangerous depending on who gets in them.
It's
To
been
be
a long
fair,
day.
To be fair, in Japanese culture, that's true. Coats can be very dangerous depending on who's in them.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot because I'm gonna fall asleep on it.
Don't
What's
shoot
your-
yourself.
what's your
See you,
Hmm?
Pat.
what's your favorite scene, Pat?
Yeah, Pat.
Oh fuck! Put me on the spot here.
You got 4 hours to choose from.
Probably the bit in the hospital where he's just sort of slicing everyone open with that sword. I
The Kill
quite
Bill
enjoyed.
scene.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed how it was choreographed. But
Nice.
yeah,
What I liked about that as well is you can tell he's not actually trained properly. He's really poorly done it. Like when he's attacking people, he's not attacking them like in a proper like Japanese martial arts film where it's like and everyone's dead. He's like really slow and really like he hits one person and they stop him and then he hits like bumbles around a bit, which is quite cool because it shows you he's actually a real human being
Mm.
and he's not trained because he literally runs in there with a sword just to save someone, even though he's just a nobody really. Yeah, I thought that was quite good. Like the fact that they didn't go on that whole thing of like, oh, he's gonna be like super duper martial art expert and kill everyone. No, he just runs in and kind of he manages to stab the bloke in the neck just out of the fact that he's behind him and he's like you're dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ed was like, how is he good at fighting? And I was like, well, he's done the training to fight and stuff. And I was like, but I do acknowledge that street fighting is not the same as fighting with a katana. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is a bit of a fucking stretch, to be fair.
It was his panty shots that got him the.
Yeah,
He
he's
was took out to
spinning.
use a sword.
All right, guys.
Pat,
I'll
you're
see you later.
suffering. You head off.
See you later.
See you in a bit, dude.
Oh, wait.
Hey,
Just to add what you're saying, Alec, I can't remember what's the name of this specific sword, but I don't think it's a katana. It is a samurai sword, but it's longer than a katana.
Oh,
No dachi.
Yeah, so basically the different lengths have different names, but I can't remember the name of the length he
I
was
know.
using.
I know Wakatashi is the small one, isn't it?
Wakizashi is the small one, katana is the normal one, and no dachi is the one that Kikuchiyo has in Seven Samurai, 'cause it's a bit of a longer one. He doesn't know what he's doing with it.
Nice.
Yeah. Weeb. Sorry. My bad.
All right, say my favorite one then, and then my favorite scene, and I don't know what it is. Like when I had it had more impact when I saw it out of context than when I actually was watching it normally, because I just happened to kind of fast forward and land on this part. And it's the part where Koike is like, oh, you have skills. There's some people who like to meet you, and it's to go to the porn company. And he's just talking about, yeah, just doesn't really do anything for me. It's into sins. And they're listening to his speech, and he's just telling it how it is. And then he's basically saying how he's fallen in love with this girl, and that's when he really liked the beauty of her panties and blah 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 blah. and the guys next to him just like,
He was crying and oh man, them two blokes are so weird. Especially the second one. It was like
So yeah,
strange.
yeah. And it's just the way he's just kind of like innocent, just I say innocent, but he's just like telling his story. But they're just like, that's so beautiful. He's just like, huh? Oh, okay. I mean, I'm just here to get Yoko. Like,
was I alone in thinking that guy looked like Don Cheadle? Because I thought he did.
Don Cheadle, really?
Yeah, I thought he looked like Don Cheadle. I thought they put
No,
a
I
big
didn't
afro
notice
on.
that.
I don't get that either.
But I also thought that one of the judges looked like the guy from Fast and Furious. So, but yeah, that's that is a nice scene. It's all nice scenes. I really fucking like that stuff. I think something from this film is that Yu's so well characterized, and the only way to get you to root for someone who's doing this is to make him like as pure as possible, and like he's not, he's still kind of a teenager and all that, and the film kind of it acknowledges it the whole way through, because Ed was going like, why does he do this? Why does he do that? Why does he do this? And I'm like, he's a fucking teenager, is an idiot.
Yeah.
So why doesn't he just do the thing that's directly beneficial to him? And I'm like, he's not an adult. He doesn't know.
mhm.
Like,
Well, like the fact that he becomes a shoplifter, and it's like not even he doesn't even think it's that bad. It's just like
Yeah.
I do
Oh,
this because it's
this is the point that Rob's making with the whole the kind of religious mental gymnastics you have to do, because it's like, right, I need to be better in front of my father, so I need to commit crimes because he knows when I'm lying about sinning, so I have to commit sin to confess it to him. And it's like just that's a really, really easy line to draw, that you're going like, yeah, I can absolutely see why you're doing that. And they'll think he's weird anyway, but like,
Yeah.
I really like how Yu's characterized. Sorry.
What was your favorite scene though, Alec?
My favorite scene I think it's just where I thought. I think it's where I first recognised the film was taking off for me, and he goes from I love the whole sequence where he's like, I didn't help an old lady cross the road, and he's like, and you goes, I actually did help the old lady across the road. She was really struggling. And then he's like, and I stepped on an ant. And he's like, I didn't even step on an ant. and then like, Tetsu's going like, yeah, fuck off. I can't do this now. Like, you crap. You crap at sitting. Fuck you. And then he makes the transition to go like, so I just started committing crime, and I was like, there we are, nice, very good. And I was just really happy with where the film was going, and I was like, man, everything I like about Love Exposure is building on that moment. So I think my favorite scene is where he decides he's going to start committing crime. I was like, nice, thank you.
I like the fact that everything's okay until he starts doing the pervert bit, and then it's like, this is totally unacceptable. I was like, but all of it is unacceptable. This is, I don't,
Which
it highlights a problem in that type of culture, and I think that's what's quite well. It's kind of like a parody, if that makes sense.
So the moment where he starts doing that kind of taking his shots.
Yeah, well, you think like the fact that his dad doesn't really care, and he's like, oh, I'm stealing stuff, and he's like, oh, whatever, I'll forgive you. And then when he says, oh yeah, I've taken a picture of this, and he throws him out and he's beating him. It's like, but he's been doing like illicit things. He's been breaking the law, but because he's doing something that's deemed perverted, it's just like, but I don't know. We've talked about it before, right, with the religion previously, but yeah, I just think it's that kind of obscure kind of cult. I don't know. Something.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's those standards. It's weird. And another kind of just a side reference. So Korea, they have a thing where weed is treated worse than treason.
What?
Yeah, if you get caught doing weed, your career is, of course, your career is over, but also that's on your record. Like your working career could be over, because that's worse than not doing mandatory military service. Like people who refuse to do military service or run away get treated better than someone who got caught smoking weed once.
Wow.
Really strange.
Is this North Korea? I assume.
Oh my goodness.
North Korea or South?
South Korea.
South, really?
Well, you can't really do much in North Korea.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was going to say we wouldn't even know about things like that happening in North Korea.
it doesn't happen.
Alec, we was just talking about the standards and how things can be absurd, and obviously Dan was talking about how his favorite part is that just highlights how absurd it is, where he does the perverted stuff, and that's when his dad's just like, what? But before, he's been doing a lot of crime and stealing and all this bad stuff, but he's just like, oh, whatever. And I was just saying how in Korea, if you do weed, it's worse than treason. It's worse than doing military.
Did you see that bloke recently? He was in Dubai or somewhere, and he had CBD oil. Is it CBD? No, the cannabis oil.
Yeah.
They found him with it, and he's got 25 years prison.
Oh, wow.
Just for having it in possession. And it's just like, this is insane. Yeah.
The thing is
Thank you for catching me up, by the way.
The thing is with those countries, though, like they will turn a blind eye to like literally everything, but they have those laws to catch you if you're like if you do something that upsets them. Like for example, somebody that I used to work with lived out there, and he had a maid who would like sort of drink alcohol and like do all of these things that are illegal over there, but they'd always turn a blind eye to it. And then one day he caught her stealing money from him. And so when he caught her stealing money, they just came down with everything. So she got done for the money, she got done for drinking alcohol and like everything else all at once, just because she did that one thing that was too far.
Crazy.
What was that noise?
What's it?
I don't know. Yeah, like with Dubai, it's a lot of the case of they want to catch people out, like tourists.
It's kind of like it's sort of do what you want until you do something that upsets us, and then we'll get you for everything.
Basically,
Yeah. Be very careful.
don't
Rob.
drink alcohol. They really don't like alcohol in Dubai.
I know you're not traveling back over there and stuff, Rob, but I was just like, since you've been there, it's like, please be careful. We want
Hey.
you back.
I nearly got arrested for walking down the road over there.
What?
Did I not tell you about that? So like
No.
I was walking down the road and a
This
police
is how we
car.
get censored.
I was walking down the road and a police car just sort of like screeched up to me and like rolled down its window really fast. And he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm just going for a walk." And he was like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "England." And then he laughed and drove off. And I later found out the reason that they were so like pissed off with me was because I was walking near the government buildings.
And that wouldn't have happened with me. I'd have walked down there and go, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. What am I doing?" And they go, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "England." And then they'd be, "You're coming with us." I'd have got arrested and killed.
What am I doing with my life?
But yeah, it must have just been that they like saw me as like a suspicious threat. But then like when they stopped me and I was so clueless, they were probably just like, "Oh no, never mind, let's go."
They probably thought you were Joey for Tony.
Yeah.
What are you doing about here, Joey for Tony? I'm just walking. I'm from England. Oh, right. Go on then, Joey for Tony.
I think, but saying that, there's some places in America that are similar. So you could be a tourist, like going for a walk, and I can't remember who was telling me this story. They were just going, someone online, they were going for a walk. It was like outside of this private property, and just kind of taking in the scenery. And the police came and said, "What are you doing here?" It's like, "I'm just walking. You're not meant to be walking here. That's why you don't see anyone." And they literally got him to get in the car and drove him back to the property
Oh wow,
and said, "Yeah, don't do that again." And then left.
man.
Go
You
for a
just
walk.
telling me.
Jesus.
Someone was visiting the country. I can't remember who it was, but basically they was walking down this road and they didn't realise they'd walked through number 10, like the 10 down the street road. And the police are looking at him like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, you gotta leave." And he's like, "Oh, what? I was just walking." Like, the person didn't realise that, yeah, it was 10
You should
down
have
the
gone like,
street
"Look,
road.
the worst that's going to happen is I'm going to kill Boris Johnson."
You
Like,
don't.
Yeah, carry on with your favorite scenes. Sorry.
I think mine is
my favourite. Sorry.
mine is like it's a similar reason to Alec because I think I really like how it characterizes you in the moment, but it's it's during the fight in the square, and it's when you sees Yoko as the like a vision of the statue that he's carrying around. Because yeah, it's
Isn't
like
it lucky that Koike got that one guy? She's like, chuck a cloth over it.
Oh, yeah.
This will work brilliantly.
That is very anime, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. But no, I really like that scene because like you get the purity of you in it, and just yeah, I think it's like it's a really nice visual for what's going on because like where you've got all kind of like the religious subtext of like her being vulnerable to it because of being in a marginalized group, and then like you sort of having to sin and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I just really like all of that coming together in that scene.
You know what? I think I had that when we went to St. Catherine's Hill at one time, and we had the singing nuns, and they chucked that cloth over you, and then I was like, "Have you got a cigarette?" And then you went, "Oh, I'm not fucking smoking anymore." And you just chucked all your stuff in the middle. Wow. Really felt a kinship with that moment.
What are you talking of?
Your mother? Oh no, I can't say your mother because she's actually in the next room. No, there was a time where we went up. Me and Rob went walking up around at the end of Winchester, and we ran into some singing nuns, and Rob quit smoking that day because they freaked him out so much.
Oh, oh, that,
It was really freaky, man. They were just like walking
There's-
around singing at trees, and it was really early in the morning as well. So yeah,
wait, that's great. Uh, but this scene you was talking about, Rob. Sorry, is it you
Yeah,
saying
sorry.
the cloth over her? That whole scene.
yeah, like when you starts having visions of her like in front of the statue of Mary. And,
That was
yeah, I just really like how like all of the different threads that were going on. I suppose to be fair, more in hindsight actually, but yeah, like all of the different threads that are happening kind of go through that scene, and yeah, I really like that.
the miracle day.
Mm.
I remember Pat saying why we're recapping, and I was like, we're recapping because we're seeing it through everybody's eyes because this is where they all meet, and this is why I got irritated with. I was like, I don't understand how Koike orchestrated any of this. So this is all pivotal to the rest of the film. Like this is all the threads converging. If you're gonna get something right, you got to get this right.
Mm.
Not to shit on your favorite scene, but I was like, you need to make sure this is all right. And
Yeah, no, I get your issues with it, but it's yeah, I think I don't want to be too harsh on it just because like to have a 4-hour film where sort of like I don't know, you've got like the pacing's pretty spot on and like the chain of events is pretty spot on apart from Koike. Yeah, I think to have that sort of like one little blip there is it's forgivable to me.
see, to me, it's unforgivable because it's sort of out of this 4-hour film. This was the point where all your threads were coming together. This was the scene to nail,
Mm.
and it's the one bit that I'm like, I don't understand how any of this works. The rest of it's fucking rock solid, but I'm just like, this is the bit where it's at its weakest, and it should be. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was like
no, I get you.
Snatch, where I'm like, it's kind of a joke why these guys are together.
Mm.
I'd be like, yeah, great, fucking excellent, do it.
I'd be really interested to see the 6-hour cut to see like
I'm
if
gonna
that is
watch the
still
6-hour cut.
Have you got a hold of it?
No,
Oh,
I
because
only learned of it while we watched it.
I've been looking for it. I can't find it anywhere.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if it's like I don't know, like a lost thing at this point. I don't know.
It's possible. I think it might have been one of those things that the 6-hour cut might have only been seen at a few festivals before the producers were just like, "No, cut it."
Yeah,
Good.
like literally the only thing I can find about the 6-hour cut is a petition to release it.
I definitely watched a 6-hour cut of this. Like I really wanted to just be stronger. I'm like, oh, I love it, but I have to detract points here because it's not. I don't know how you did this, and it's such a big part of the film. Like,
Yeah,
your whole plan hinges on Yoko thinking this is Miss Scorpion and that you are Miss Scorpion. And I'm like, you
it's
can't skimp on this.
very convenient, the fact that it all kind of works out when it doesn't really have any explanation.
Yeah, I'm like, you're fucking lucky this worked out as it worked out. You're not clever for achieving this. this all happened around you.
Like I think it's one of those things where in very few films that do it well, but in one I'll always tend to go back to, it's the director's cut of the original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Thank you for not saying Justice League. Jesus.
Film is a really good example of how it was cut. I felt it was cut perfectly in all the right places. In the moments where they weren't of that much importance, they still showed a little bit of it in a way so that you understand what's going on, but it feels like it's more in passing. And it just flows, but everything's in the film, and they kind of prioritize what gets more time and what gets less time. And obviously that's not an easy balance. I think it suffered from one of those things. If it had a better editor on it for the 4-hour cut, I think it would have.
Talking about the girl with the dragon
Yeah.
tattoo, where is John?
He's not
Oh,
a girl and he doesn't have a dragon tattoo.
No, because he hates that film.
Yeah, he
What the
does,
fuck was that?
Yeah, no, he didn't have time to watch it before tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
This is the thing. Like, I wouldn't. This is not something I'd levy at most directors. I wouldn't ask for a 6-hour cut of a film from most directors, but this film, do it. Like, you've clearly got material. You can clearly you've kept my attention for 4 hours. You kept my attention for 4 hours, and I was pissed off whenever I had to leave. I was like, shit, I've got to cook dinner. Fucking hell. And I was like, bollocks, I've got to pick Ebony up. Shit me. Like, and I was like, I was annoyed at moments I had to leave because I was like, Eb, we're home. You go to bed. I'm gonna fucking finish this because I need to know how it ends. Because this is the most weird film I've ever seen in my life. I need to know what's happening here. I can't leave it till the next day. I can't leave it till we do the call. I have to just fucking finish it. I started it today. I've got to finish it today. And I'm like, this man can do a 6-hour film. Do it.
I was going to say it must be good when you get the whole way through a 4-hour film and then they make a reference, like with the whole boner thing. It's like at the end, you understand what the significance of him getting a boner is. And it's like, this is 4 hours. You actually remembered.
Yeah. Ben, what's your favorite one?
Favorite moment?
None of it.
I think when it suddenly just went from the sublime to the ridiculous, if you could call it that. This is when he decides, look, I'm going to sin, and I'm going to sin in the most ridiculous way I can think of, which was the bigger panty stuff. And I just thought that was hilarious because how he's like trained in what's his name?
Ninjutsu.
The guy from Kill Bill who's like he trains the bride. It's the same sort of thing. Like he gets trained, but like, this is how you do it, and this is how you do it. And he goes out in the public and he just starts to get his camera out and he just does the thing, and it becomes a natural. And I thought that was just the most amazing part of the film. I thought just because it was just so unpredictable, and it was like, what is he doing? And so this is just so stupid, but it's just so funny.
I do love that little bit where his mate starts trying to imitate him and he just starts going like, and he just lifts the girl's skirt up. I was like, oh, stop it. God.
This guy has just got he's a natural. Yeah, that's what
he spins around.
He does flips.
He goes through your video calls and he does the panty photos. Like you don't even know he's doing them. Like, that's how good he is.
Just like when he was in the rain praying outside the church because his dad wouldn't let him in. Keiko in her group like see him, and instead of like saying something else, he starts explaining how it's a great camera and it can go underwater. And this like being just like, who else would start talking that in this
Oh,
situation where they've been caught red-handed?
the bit with the swimming pool got me. When he's in the swimming pool, the girls, and they'll like not notice that he's there. It's like, what?
Like, without being mean, like, I obviously don't want to make any like kind of unsavory sort of accusations or anything,
Oh,
or
yeah.
any weird like kind of connotations. But
Mhm.
like, you is someone that I'd associate with Ben because like he's mischievous, but he's completely innocent. Like you wouldn't. You kind of like, Ben just did this fucking thing. It just ended my whole life. But you're like, he was just messing about. He's just completely innocent in the whole thing, and it's like, little Ben there, bless him. And it's just like, no, my whole life's ended, and he's like, he didn't. Like, you know.
A few years ago, me and John both found like old coffee sachets in our old bags that Ben put there in year 7. and I would say that that's quite different to Peaky Panty photos.
Listen, whenever we do a film club call, I'm always like, what's Ben done? I'll just see these little messages throughout this thing, and I'm like, bless him.
Always fun though, because this is to everywhere. You put like some stuff in a bag or do this or do that. And I'm just like, huh? Oh, how this get here? How this happen?
Ben.
Oh, great. So thanks, Ben.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Actually, yeah, to be fair, it's probably a better comparison for Emmanuel because the biggest bit of mischief that I associate with Emmanuel is the time that you broke the sixth form ceiling.
Oh, that
I hear all of these.
go to plan.
Oh man, that was brilliant.
I don't know what you was thinking you was gonna.
I like the idea that you were like, I'm gonna throw my backpack and it's gonna bounce off the ceiling, and it just went straight through. It was like, oh.
I didn't expect that.
Hey, wasn't I trying to pass my back to you or someone?
Yeah, you stood in the doorway and you went, Ben, should I throw my bag? And then Ben went, yeah, go on then.
I'll go through the tunnel.
The ceiling came down with it.
Oh no, because as he threw it, instead of it going across, it just went up in the air, didn't it? Oh, I remember.
Oh
now.
man, that was brilliant.
Because I hear a million stories about like Ben was a mild-mannered student, and then it just fucked up this whole teacher's career.
Oh yeah, the time with Mr. Owen's bookshelf. Oh, that was so funny.
What did you do?
So me and Ben broke into Mr. Owen's classroom, and
You're on recording, by the way, just in case he ever watches this and goes, "You motherfucker."
That's all right. We're outside of the statute of limitations now. But me and Ben broke into Mr. Owen's classroom, and while we were in there, I think the first thing that we did was Ben put Mr. Owen's jacket on, and we took pictures of him with it.
That's like 3 sizes too big.
And then kind of like we put the jacket back, and Ben sort of pulled like a paper clip out of the bookshelf, and the whole thing just broke and fell over. And we had to run out of the fire exit and get out as soon as we could.
Oh,
I vaguely remember that.
imagine he came back and was like, what the f happened?
Oh man.
That's something you talk to Ben, and he's just the purest little soul.
Yeah.
Well, what's happening, Ben? And it's just so nice, and you're like, yeah.
There was also that time that we nearly smashed the church window.
Oh, that.
Do you remember that one?
With those fruit things. What was it?
No, it was with the World Cup bottle of Coke that was
Oh,
shaped like
yeah,
a
the
football.
little
Yeah. So like after school, like pretty much every day in year 7, we used to go to Martin's Corner and put bottles in the road with the idea that like a car would run over it and then it'd cover the bus stop in like whatever was in the bottle. Like it was like religious, man. Like every day we used to do that. And then when the World Cup was on, it must have been the 2002 one. They brought out like a special edition bottle of Coke which was shaped like a football. And so we were like, oh, this will be great. Let's get one of those and chuck it in the road. But the shape of it must have reinforced how strong the plastic was. So we put it in the road and a bus hit it. And rather than exploding, it just like launched into the air and nearly went through the church window.
That
It
wasn't
just
year
like,
7.
like, and it was just like a cannonball, wasn't it? It's just
What?
so like if
Well-
you got hit in the face with it, you probably died.
Yeah, you would,
Well,
yeah.
it wasn't a bus, it was a lorry.
Was it?
Oh yeah, that's better.
'Cause I
Oh,
was
so
there.
that's-
Oh yeah.
I
That must have been
remember
year 11 then. So that's even.
it, 'cause
To anyone watching this going like, Ben is the quiet member of the group. Yeah, he is, but he's also the most underhanded.
the worst thing was that the bottle was less than a can of Coke and it was like
Yeah.
twice the price. But no, basically where the bottle was a cylinder, a circle or a sphere,
Yeah.
it couldn't get squashed. So when it hit the lorry instead of it squishing it, it just went. Yeah. I remember.
To be
that
honest,
very well.
it's lucky that it went off in that direction because if it came at us at the bus stop,
It would
we could have
hurt
been
them.
seriously injured.
It would have hurt them. It was a full bottle as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard so many stories about Ben and all the chaos that he did behind the shadows, and you wouldn't know. You
must
go,
have-
Ben's a very nice boy.
You must
You'd be
have
like,
heard the
no,
fruits.
he's the Peter Panty extraordinaire.
You must have heard about the fruits, right?
Yeah.
And especially
Oh, hang on, the what?
The fruits.
Froobs.
Oh yeah.
I think I know this.
What did you used to call it, Ben? There was like a name for the event, but I can't remember what it was.
What,
now.
the yogurt fiasco?
Oh, that was it.
This is the bit I like because I'm like, go on then.
the fact that you
I'm not
put
sure
one
I
under-
know it. I might know it. The worst case scenario is I get a familiar story.
The fact that he stuck one under a door and stamped it and ran away.
Random fact, I never did any of the stomping.
That was the genius bit. He got other
Yeah.
people to do the stomp.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was all
my-
Sam and Little.
My favourite part of the yogurt fiasco, though, was that when Ben was caught, they made him write an apology. And so he wrote an apology to the head of science, which started with, from the personal files of Ben Yindle, science student. Is this some kind of a joke?
I still do that to this day.
You know, he was a terror back in this.
I remember one time, like I think it might have been the yoga under the door one, possibly. I remember, oh, you want to come to the? I was like, I'm cool.
He threw a tennis ball over to school.
Oh yeah,
You missed out.
Oh, that was brilliant.
And the fact
Yeah.
that Emmanuel could eat a whole hot dog. Could just like get the whole thing up.
Yeah, I can still eat a lot. But yeah, Ben. Now we've been talking about you. It's so known. What's your film?
My film is not this week. It's Rob's film this week.
Yeah.
My film's the week after.
Oh shit! That was an excellent attempt at a segue.
That's right.
Ben, we've been talking about weird stuff. What's your film? Oh, it's not your film. Oh,
Sorry, Rob.
That's all right, man.
guys, I was hoping we'd do this for 4 hours.
At least
no,
match the
definitely.
runtime of the film.
At least match the runtime.
To be fair, we've been going for 2.
Yeah.
It's not good enough.
After length is good enough. I think I could.
That's not a good motto for marriage.
Oh dear. Oh, I just got acid reflux.
That's
Oh,
what you
man.
get. No, sorry. My bad. I'm happy to talk about no, not Love
Love
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
Whoa. Love Exposure. I'm happy to talk about Love Exposure for more time. But if Emmanuel wants to cut it short, Emmanuel, this is your film, so you are determining the length of this.
The exposure of love.
I think we've pretty much covered mostly everything.
Yeah.
There's lots of like small we could probably talk about, but they still cover the same things that we've said. I think at the end of the day, one thing, one of my favorite things, even before the film, is what Dan said last week, how my picks can be like this rodeo, this ride. Like,
He's very much like a rodeo.
We did say your picks are by far, like, we were like, okay, we're gonna start with Memories of Murder, and it was like, this is a real-time drama commentary on like an actual murder that happened, and it happens to involve wanking. Like, cool. This is a good concept. Pat loved it. You know, I don't want to say anything, but like, you know, nice. And then second film, Emmanuel, what are you doing? Antichrist. Oh wow, the most Christian member of Film Club, and he's done Antichrist, and it's got it's got genital mutilation in it. Marvelous. We can still mention it. We mention it. You know, Fairly Odd Parents, where they're trying to wind up Cosmo, and the character just looks at Cosmo and he goes, super toilet. And Cosmo just goes into the fetal position and he starts crying. We can do it with Pat. We can go, hey, Pat, thank you. And he just starts doing, and you know, it's great. And then we do Sunshine. Pat was absolutely sure that would be a fucking landslide. We love Sunshine. No, we hate it. We hate Sunshine. Any casual viewer, we hate Sunshine. Fuck you.
Then
we're not a fan. And then we're like, bad movie around. What are we doing? Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Fantastic. Worst movie ever. Just shit. You had a little quiet moment where you picked some nice good ones with Tale of Two Sisters and Mother, and they were lovely. They were lovely little films. We loved them.
Went back to Japan.
We loved them. You were back to form. Back to form with this today, Emmanuel. You picked a film you weren't even sure you hadn't picked. You picked a film you hadn't even watched, and I was like, fantastic. What was lovely? You said we're gonna have a palate cleanser from Apocalypse Now. This 3-hour, possibly 4-hour. It's ambiguous. We're gonna have a 4-hour film about Vietnam and how nasty it was. And you said we're gonna do a palate cleanser. And you hung this little carrot. And you said, and you started doing this weird metaphor about Cool Runnings. And we were like, oh, you're picking Cool Runnings? No.
Fucking hell, yeah.
We're picking this.
That's really funny in hindsight. We couldn't have thought any further away from what you actually picked.
We were like, what are you picking, Emmanuel? And you just went, I'm gonna just start this extended metaphor about a film I'm not gonna pick. We were like, are you gonna pick it? No.
Oh.
Lovely. We're doing this one. What a fantastic. I'm actually so happy you picked this. And I had a point at the beginning of this, but I've lost it. It's gone. I don't know where I was gonna go.
Thanks, man. All right.
I love all your picks. You're fantastic with this. Do more of these.
They're so manual, so random.
Yeah.
I had a point when I started, but it's gone.
Right, Rob, what's your film?
Yeah,
Cool Runnings. I'm joking. It's not Cool Runnings. Yeah, so it's the Halloween pick. It's that, and it's a bit unfortunate, right? Because because I picked The Exorcist last round, I was kind of like, I want to pick something that's like as far away as The Exorcist as possible. So my pick for Halloween round is Train to Busan.
Ah,
You can see why you thought you'd pick it.
I'm in your territory of South Korea.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
on my list for next year for a movie. Man.
Yeah,
Stole
I
it.
hope you guys like it.
Yeah,
So
Rob's
it's-
actually poached a pick from Ben.
You fucking bastard.
Usually it's anyone who poaches a pick from Pat.
Yeah, to be fair, you've picked 2 Pat films in a row, Dan, so you can't say anything.
No, Leon was mine.
And Pat's.
Oh, and Pat's.
I poached the wrong film.
I just realized Train to Busan is like the premise of a Roblox game.
You know what? I was really worried you were going to go. I just realised Train to Busan is 4 hours long. Oh no!
It is if you watch it twice.
Harry, I will not be doing that.
Oh,
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, John won't be watching it even once.
I like this as well because Train to Busan is such a thing about it, not like Train to Billericay.
There's an American remake being made now, but they haven't confirmed what the title is yet.
I think I know
Train to
why.
Boston.
Train to Boston.
Train to Canada.
There's quite a few films that do similar things, but not with a zombie outbreak. I think that's the key difference. Like, while on a train.
This is the way to do it, actually. Emmanuel, as an American, what would be your equivalent for Busan?
I don't know. I need to watch it.
Because you've got a unique sort of straddle going on between, American but also Asian. So I was like, you know how, I don't know, you could say like Leicester is sort of the Texas of America. You know what I mean?
What?